Let's bring in the Parliamentary Bureau Chief for Radio-Canada. You met him during our time in Montreal for the leaders' debates. Louis Blouin, once again with me from Ottawa.
Hi, Heather.
And rebonjour. Nice to see you again.
Bonjour. Nice to see you.
I have so many questions because I know you're working your contacts and we might get some new information here. Are you hearing, Louis, first of all, of any behind-the-scenes machinations, any discussions, any deal-making to get the Liberals from 169 up to 172 in a majority?
So I've asked that question because it's 3 seats away. And we saw that in the past, but people crossing the floor. For now, Heather, I'm told that it's not completely crazy to think about that it, could happen. But for now, I'm told that those calls are not being made. I have no indication that it is going on. But we will be looking up because, honestly, 3 seats away, if you can get a stable majority for a few years, that's one of the questions I'm going to be asking for a few days, maybe a few weeks. But it's still, Mr. Carney has some options in this parliament. The Bloc Québécois seems to be very conciliatory in the tone, and the NDP also is in kind of a difficult position right now. So they need to find a new leader. They will need some time. They need some money. So there's going to be, it's going to be pretty stable for the next few months. So Mr. Carney could do without if he cannot find some people to cross over. It's pretty tough to do, but that could be an option for him. But he will have to get some very strong arguments.
For sure. Okay, come back to some of the points that you made there in just a moment, but I do wonder if you're also hearing any details about when we'll know who's going into cabinet, when we will see that announcement, swearing in, and when Parliament might resume, Louis?
So we should know about the new cabinet before the end of the month of May, and I have a few names that are being thrown around right now. So I'm looking for Carlos Letao, the former Quebec finance minister, the Liberal finance minister in Quebec. He could, potentially have a role maybe of economic nature, maybe treasury. These are my suppositions. There could be also Evan Solomon, the former reporter of CBC. He's been elected in the region of Toronto, pretty high profile. I'm going to be watching for him. Also, Gregor Robertson, mayor of Vancouver, right, who could also have an interesting role to play, maybe something linked to the environment or other. So that's going to be the names I'm going to be looking around. There could be some movements too. There was also some critics, remember, when they removed the Department of Feminine Condition in the last shuffle. Stephen Guilbeault is responsible for that. There could be an option maybe, to change some roles like that. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. End of May, beginning of June, Parliament could resume. And then what we're going to see is the budget that needs to be adopted. Mark Carney also proposed this new bill to remove trade barriers between the provinces before the July 1st, before Canada Day. So it's going to be coming pretty fast. A lot of things to do. And also this meeting that will happen with Donald Trump at some point, in a close timing, we're told. That's what was written in the readout of the call yesterday. So that's coming. I'm wondering if he's going to be going down to Washington, the Prime Minister, to meet the President in front of the fireplace, that we saw with the 2 chairs in the Oval Office. That's going to be a first pretty tough test for him because the call in private is one thing, being in public. And you remember how Justin Trudeau in the first meeting managed the handshake with Donald Trump?
Yeah,
so these are little things that we're going to be looking for.
And one would assume there might be a meeting with the premiers in the very near future, too, particularly if they're talking ahead of Canada Day about getting rid of the interprovincial trade barriers. That discussion might be had in the near term.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And, that's not done. We've been talking about that for decades. And now it's pretty ambitious to think that it could happen before Canada Day. Maybe it's, some percentage of it. Maybe we're going to try to go a certain way. But that's going to be important, too. And I can't wait to see the first interaction, too, with the Premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith. We saw that she has a lot of frustrations and she wants to talk to the Prime Minister. So we'll see how that relation goes. I think it's going to be the most tricky one for Mr. Carney in the weeks to come. And I wonder if there's going to be also an in-person meeting. That could be a way maybe to extend a way to try and have discussion. So we'll see on that front too. Okay. But with the Quebec Premier, seems to be going fairly well.
Well, I was struck by his comment. The Federalist parties and us, who are indépendantistes, must be capable of working together in the face of a crisis. So more conciliatory than we've had from Monsieur Blanchette previously.
And I'm told the call between Mr. Carney and Mr. Blanchette went very well. That's what I was told. So Mr. Blanchette seems to be of the opinion that Canadians and especially Quebecers do not want instability in Parliament. That's what he says, for at least a year in this time of crisis negotiations with the Americans. So very conciliatory tone on that front. Also, Mark Carney knows that he owes a big part of his victory to Quebec. That's where he had the most gains. And that's why also François Legault seemed to be very, very nice yesterday when he came out in his presser. He says he's an economic prime minister. He's just like me. François Legault is a former businessman. And he said we're going to do great things together. He talked about this defense procurement that he wants to put together with Europe. And François Legault wants to be part of that. One of the idea that was floated around is that maybe some warplanes could be assembled in Quebec. So that's very interesting for François Legault. So we'll see where it goes. But for now, the tone is very good. Very different between François Legault and what we had with Justin Trudeau and his minister, Mark Miller, at the time on issues as immigration. If you remember, it was not going very well.
Right.
So we'll see for the rest. For now, starting point looks very good. We'll see in practice.
And on the other side, too, with Mark Carney, even on election night, he said to you, as you had a few minutes with him, that, yes, language, culture, supply management, those for him are issues that are, non-negotiable at this point for Quebec.
Yep.
Can we ask on the other side of things, for the opposition, Pierre Poilievre, big gains in terms of popular vote, big gains in seat count, but he lost his own seat in his riding that he'd been in for more than 20 years. What are you hearing, Louis, in terms of whether there's any push for him to take blame personally for the loss and a push to get him out as leader? What's the status there?
It's interesting because yesterday we saw some MPs come out again on the airwaves. We saw Gérard Deltel in Quebec. We saw Scott Aitchison also on the CBC. So it seems that the MPs are coming out. And I haven't seen any MPs who come out strongly against him or asking him to leave. In fact, they're saying, no, we can build on what he did. He has more seats. He had a good win, a strong win. The problem for him is the symbolic loss in Carleton. So now he has to find a seat. And what I'm hearing is that there's options maybe for him. Some MPs in his team will have to cede their seat. There's going to be a by-election. I'm hearing maybe in Calgary, there was some talks about a seat maybe in Calgary or in Edmonton especially. So we'll see where it goes. If somebody accepts to hand over his seats, then there would be a by-election. Mark Carney has to decide when he's going to launch this by-election because he has 6 months to do it. So that could leave Mr. Poilievre out of his favorite play. That's the question period. That could, set him aside. But I wonder if Mark Carney wants to play nice with the other leaders, send a signal of unity, will keep him out of the picture, or could extend him the favor of just going quickly at it and allowing him to come back, because Pierre Poilievre cannot have the role of official opposition leader if he does not have a seat in Parliament. So he would wish that he would be there as quick as he can. Let's see how the caucus reacts, because they can give themselves, the MPs, the tools to remove Pierre Poilievre if they want. But also there could be some exterior forces that, if they hear about a candidate that would be interested to come in, to step in eventually. So there could be a movement. So Pierre Poilievre will have a lot of caucus management to do in the next few weeks. And the point is also some frustrations in the background is that he didn't listen to his MPs enough. They were not, part of the campaign. We saw Mr. Poilievre alone in front of the microphones all the time. We didn't see the team behind him. So he's going to have some bridge to build back. There's also the tense relation with Doug Ford, Tim Houston. We saw what happened also. So he's going to have to try and build some alliances if he wants to stick around, I think, and but it starts with caucus, because that's the first challenge he's going to have. So we'll see. It's going to be fascinating. What a night we had.
Really
honestly.
A big. It was. I'm not even getting to the NDP yet. We'll have to have you back on all of that, because as you say, they need to have a new leader as well. But when you mentioned potentially running in Calgary, more likely Edmonton, that takes us into the Alberta story. It did not take long for Alberta Premier Danielle Smith to weigh in yesterday and hold that news conference and talk about getting greater respect for Alberta, renewing the relationship with Ottawa. I'm just wondering how seriously the Carney government, people in the office, are taking this talk, this sentiment, very evident, of Western alienation, and how serious a challenge that agenda is posing to the new government. Yeah, and the challenge of unity. That's the main thing, I think. And I don't know if you remember the speech of Mark Carney on Monday night. He made a point of talking about the nurse of Quebec, of the accountant of Toronto, and the worker of the oil sector in Alberta. And he wanted to send this signal that he's thinking about everybody. He didn't run in Alberta. He had the occasion to do so, Mark Carney. There
were talks that he grew up in Edmonton, that he could maybe seek a seat there. He didn't. So he's going to have to show tangible elements to people of Alberta that feel frustrated, that feel isolated. So that's going to be the main challenge for him in the next few weeks. I think he's going to have to come out with, very solid, tangible stuff, and he's going to have also to take account of what Danielle Smith wants in the negotiation coming with Donald Trump. There was a lot of debate, should the Alberta oil be used in the negotiation as a card to play? It doesn't interest, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith doesn't have any interest in that. So we'll see where it goes. But he has, that's the main challenge for him now. Not in Quebec. We see the relation for now is very good. That's where it's going to have to focus his attention.
We'll be working on those reports. I want to share something before I let you go this time, but come back anytime, Louis. Love your visits. But from Monday night, you did manage to have some private moments with the new Prime Minister and ask him a number of questions. But then you ask at the very end what the first thing he's going to do as Prime Minister is, and he said dance. So let's look at this for just a moment together.
Votre premier geste comme Premier ministre?
Et de danser, c'est le premier geste. On s'amuse.
On vous laisse célébrer.
Vous aussi.
So there you go. First thing he's going to do is dance, and then dance he did to Down with Webster in that hoodie, singing along with the lyrics. So there was no buttoned-up banker in that moment, Louis.
No,
what did you see of the new Prime Minister there?
I was surprised. I didn't even go on the dance floor. I kept far away from that. But, the goods were decent. The moves were kind of decent. So I was a bit surprised. And when he said that, I said, well, okay, we'll see about that. But then here you go. So, there's some surprise. I guess he wanted to celebrate a bit before getting to work. But that was interesting to watch. And he had the young staffers and liberal militants around him during all the show. And it went pretty well. They were there until 3 or 4 in the morning.
Wow.
So,
we had him with Cœur de Pirate from Quebec.
Yep.
We had Down with Webster, as I say, showing Canadians a different side in some of these moments. Louis, thank you for these moments with you this week. Really a pleasure. I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Louis Blouin in Ottawa this morning.